All right, let's dive into one of the biggest ideas in linear algebra, the matrix inverse. I know, it sounds kind of heavy, but I promise, by the end of this, you'll see it's actually a super powerful and, believe it or not, intuitive tool. So let's get right to it. So let's start with a really basic question. In regular math, if you've got something like 5x equals 10, you just divide by 5 and you're done. Easy. But how in the world do you do that with matrices? You can't just stick one matrix on top of another. Well, this is the exact problem the matrix inverse was created to solve. It's basically the matrix way of doing division. The absolute best way to think about an inverse is just as a giant undo button. A matrix takes something, a point, a vector, an entire space, and it transforms it. It might stretch it, rotate it, or shear it. The inverse is the one special matrix that can perfectly reverse that action and put everything right back where it started. Okay, so what's the official definition? For any square matrix, we'll call it A. Its inverse is written as A with a little -1 superscript. This is the one and only matrix that, when you multiply it by the original A, you get back to this special matrix called I. We're going to meet I in just a second, but the main takeaway is simple. Whatever A does, A inverse undoes. And this right here is that I we were just talking about, the identity matrix. Seriously, it's just the matrix version of the number 1. See? It's got ones down the diagonal and zeros everywhere else. If you multiply any matrix by this guy, nothing changes, just like multiplying a number by 1. It's our goal, our back to normal state. Now, here's the big catch. Not every matrix gets an undo button. The fate of the inverse all comes down to a single, special number called the determinant. If that determinant is anything other than 0, you're in business. An inverse exists, and we call the matrix invertible. But if that determinant is 0, game over. No inverse exists. The transformation can't be reversed, and we call that matrix singular. Okay, enough theory. Let's actually get our hands dirty and calculate one. We're going to start with the simplest case there is, the good old 2x2 matrix. And the great news is, there's a simple little formula for this that makes it incredibly fast. So the recipe for a 2x2 inverse has just 4 easy steps. We'll find the determinant, swap a couple of numbers, change the sign on a couple of others, and then scale the whole thing. Let's just walk through it with a real example. First things first, we got to get that determinant. For our example matrix, that's just AD minus BC, which gives us 10. Now, the most important thing here is that 10 is not 0. That's our green light. It tells us an inverse definitely exists and we're good to go. Now for the fun part, a little matrix shuffle. We literally just swap the elements on the main diagonal, so the 3 and 4 trade places. Then we take the other 2 numbers and just flip their signs. The 2 becomes a -2 and the 1 becomes a -1. It's as simple as that. And for the final step, we take that new matrix we just made and multiply it by 1 over our determinant, which was 10. And that's really just a fancy way of saying we're going to divide every single number inside that matrix by 10. And just like that, there you have it, the inverse of our original matrix. Every element's been divided by 10, giving us our final answer. You've officially calculated your very first matrix inverse. See? Not so scary, right? Now, that 2x2 shortcut is fantastic, but it only works for 2x2s. What happens when you've got a 3x3 or a 10x10? For that, we need the universal method, the one that works for any size. It's a technique called Gauss-Jordan elimination. The idea here is actually really clever. You take your matrix A and you put it right next to an identity matrix of the same size. Then you start doing a series of legal moves called row operations. Things like swapping rows or adding one row to another, all with one goal, to turn your matrix A on the left into the identity matrix. So this is our starting line. We build what's called an augmented matrix by literally just sticking our original matrix, A, on the left and the identity matrix on the right. This whole thing is our canvas. Okay, so the process is this methodical series of row operations. They're simple moves like subtract 2 times row 1 from row 2 to create a 0 where you want one. But here's the key. Whatever you do to a row on the left side, you have to do the exact same thing to the corresponding row on the right. The right side is basically keeping a perfect record of all of your undo steps as you go. So after a whole bunch of these operations, you finally reach the goal. The left side looks exactly like the identity matrix. And because the right side has been mirroring every single move, poof, it has magically transformed into the inverse, A inverse. The record of your undo steps has literally built the undo matrix for you. So we've been focused on when everything works out nicely. But what happens when it doesn't? What does it actually mean for a matrix to be singular and not have an inverse? And is there any way to get around it? This slide gives us a perfect side-by-side. Invertible matrices have those non-zero determinants, and they represent transformations you can reverse. Singular matrices, though, have a determinant of 0. This happens when the transformation actually collapses space. Think of it like squashing a 3D cube completely flat into a 2D plane. You can't unsquash it back into a cube, so there's no inverse. But in the real world, things are messy. We still need answers, even when a perfect inverse just doesn't exist. And this is where the pseudo-inverse becomes a hero. It's an amazing tool that finds the best possible approximate solution. Think of it as the ultimate problem solver for those singular or even non-square matrices that pop up all the time in places like machine learning. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. A quick formula, a universal algorithm, and even a fallback for the impossible cases. So how do you actually choose the right tool for the job? This table pretty much sums it up. That 2x2 formula? It's a lightning-fast specialist. Gauss-Jordan is your reliable, all-purpose workhorse. And the pseudo-inverse, well, that's the heavy-duty fixer that can handle almost any tricky situation you throw at it. So here's the practical thought process. First, just look at the size. If it's a 2x2, that shortcut formula is a no-brainer. For anything bigger, Gauss-Jordan is your most reliable go-to. And if you ever hit a wall, if you find out the matrix is singular, you know you've got a powerful backup plan, the pseudo-inverse. And that really brings us to the end. We've seen that the matrix inverse isn't just some abstract piece of math. It's a fundamental tool for reversing processes, solving huge systems of equations, and decoding transformations. It powers everything from computer graphics to data science. So the real question is, now that you know how this powerful undo button works, what are you going to build? And what are you going to undo?